Going back to Abuja now, where Maokwe Ogun Yusuf is standing by with more on the news at 10. Hi, Maokwe.
Hello, Amarachi. Well, we're starting in the courts. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, has asked the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos to impose a punishment of not less than a 7-year jail term on a former acting Director General of NIMASA, Callistus Obi, who was convicted of fraud and money laundering. EFCC prosecutor Rotimi Oyedepo cited Section 416 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, which prescribes a minimum of 7 years jail term for the offense committed by the defendants. The court had convicted Callistus Obi and Aliu Dismas, who was a personal assistant to Obi's predecessor, Patrick Ablukemi, last week, Thursday. At today's proceedings, Mr. Oyedepo argued that for wasting the time of the court, which ultimately found them guilty of the offense, the defendants were not qualified to enjoy the discretion of the court in not imposing the maximum sentence. In his plea for mercy on behalf of the first convict, his counsel, Mobolaji Kuti, asked the court to temper justice with mercy, as he was a first-time offender with no past criminal records. After listening to all the submissions, Justice Mojisola Olatoregun deferred sentence until June the 3rd and ordered the convicts to be remanded in Ikoyi prison pending sentence. In the meantime, members of Ebonyi State's outgoing Executive Council today had a rare chance to let their hair down in an informal valedictory session in Abakaliki, the state capital. Commissioner and top government officials shared their feelings about the governor, Dave Umahi, as well as their service to the state in the past 4 years.
A standing ovation for the governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi. At the valedictory session of the State Executive Council, the governor presides over the meeting as each person takes his turn to commend him on his achievements.
There's no clique, no kitchen cabinet. Just do your work, produce the result. And when I understood that, I was flowing.
In 2014, I spent 2.5 hours from Abakaliki. But now we do it at 8 minutes from Abakaliki to my compound in Onitsha. This is one of the things my soul blesses him every time I pass on that road. Apart from every other thing he has done.
There's laughter as members reminisce about lighter moments in the past.
Spoken again?
Yes. So, Your Excellency.
Beyond the building of roads, flyovers, social interventions for the poor, and other projects, Governor Umahi applauds the culture of service cultivated in the team.
One thing that is so important to me as a person is not the bridges we have all built together. It's not the flyovers we have all built together. It's not the water, it's not the infrastructure, it's not the street light. It is the number of men and women that we have turned from being politicians to being businessmen and businesswomen.
One must work on oneself, he points out, if the nation is to make meaningful progress.
We can move forward unless we begin to inculcate in us that attitude of hard work, attitude of, contentment, attitude of character and content.
He says he's determined to continue building Ebonyi State in his second term. Mary Alale Yusuf, Channels Television News.
And that's it from Abuja. It's back to you, Amara.
Thanks, Maokwe. And now to some company news. Nestle Nigeria PLC has held its 50th annual general meeting in Lagos. The company posted a turnover of 266.28 billion naira compared to the 244.15 billion posted in 2017. The shareholders commended the company on its performance and also voted on appointments, executive compensation, and dividend payments.
It's that time of the year when company directors present information about performance and strategy to shareholders. For Nestle Nigeria PLC, it's their 50th annual general meeting. For the year in review, Nestle posted a revenue increase of 9% and profit after tax of 28% higher than their achievement in 2017.
I'm happy that the result I'm posting to you is one of the best in the country.
It's a cheering news for the shareholders who made the comments after carefully studying the numbers.
Mr. Chairman, I want to also put on record, yes, we have the highest profit after tax in the 50 years that AGM of Nestle is also being held.
To whom much is given, much is expected. What you have done this year, you must work hard to ensure that you don't go below what you have done. And that's the essence of the applause to you.
Those against the motion, please signify by raising the right hand.
The board recommends and put to a vote the final dividend of 38 naira 50 kobo by ordinary share. The chairman of Nestle Nigeria PLC says the organization is committed to sound corporate governance, which recognizes the interests of shareholders, consumers, employees, and other stakeholders.
Nestle is a global brand, and these practices are practices that we have across the whole globe. And we know that we have responsibility to our shareholders, to the regulators, and to the people from where we get the materials, where we operate. So Nestle looks after what we call creating shared value. We look at the interests of the people where we work. We look at those who supply us our materials, farmers, and people like that. So Nestle invests a lot in trying to ensure that all the stakeholders in the business benefit from our operations.
Nestle's top executives say they're looking forward to posting better results in the new financial year as they continue to gain the trust of consumers by delivering high-quality products adapted to consumers' preferences.
Let's get more business news now from Kayode Okiolu.
You First. First Bank.
Thank you, Amarachi, and you're welcome to Business News. The federal government says it plans to borrow money to fund the 90 billion naira increase in the 8.9 trillion naira budget. This, however, will be done after engagement with members of the National Assembly. The Minister of Budget and National Planning, Mr. Odo Udoma, who was speaking at a budget breakdown session in Abuja, says the budget will create jobs and income for all.
Barely hours after President Muhammadu Buhari signed the 2019 budget of 8.9 trillion naira into law, the Minister of Budget and National Planning, his colleague from the Ministry of Finance, and heads of key agencies have gathered in this hall to explain how the budget will work for the economy. The minister takes his audience through the 2018 budget and how it performed before listing key assumptions for the 2019 budget.
Of the total appropriation of 9.12 trillion naira, about 7 trillion naira was spent. This represents 79% performance. Debt service and implementation of non-debt recurrent expenditure, workers' salaries, pensions were fully paid.
He then speaks on how government plans to fund the additional 90 billion naira increase in the budget.
The NAS increased the budget size from 8.83 trillion naira to 8.92 trillion naira, translating to an increase of 90.33 billion naira. This has resulted in an overall increase of 58.83 billion naira in the deficit. To fully fund the budget, the level of borrowing may therefore have to increase because we have an unfunded deficit of about 100 billion naira.
Questions from the audience bordered on plans for revenue generation and how to attract foreign investments.
We have designed a strategic revenue initiative which was launched in January with several programs and projects which we are vigorously pursuing, and each of the agencies under the ministry, specifically the Federal Inland Revenue Service, the Nigerian Customs, NMPC, DPR, have Central Bank and Accountant General's Office have specific portfolio, a suite of initiatives that they are implementing as we speak.
The signing of the 2019 budget, no doubt, signals more activities in the economy.
We can hear you.
Many will be watching to see if this budget will be implemented to the letter for the benefit of all Nigerians.
And elsewhere at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, it's a major rebound for the local equities market after Monday's significant sell-off, as investors take advantage of recent drop in the price of key high-value stocks. Ekaite Afia has details of today's trading.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Nearly 500 billion naira has been regained at the close of today's trading session on the local bourse, as renewed bargain hunting for lower-priced blue-chip stocks lifted the all-share index by a whopping 3.68%. The positive sentiment also swept across all the 5 key sub-indexes of the NSE as the market recouped all of the losses recorded in Monday's session. Tier 1 lenders such as GT Bank, Zenith Bank, and FBN Holdings are the top 3 contributors to a total volume of 344.30 million units worth 7.27 billion naira, all traded in 4,456 transactions. The exchange will be closed tomorrow, Wednesday the 29th, in observance of the presidential inauguration. And that's the Stock Market Report. I'm Ekaite Afia.
Thank you, Ekaite. Major stock markets across Wall Street, Africa and Europe end Tuesday's trading session broadly in the red on concerns of a possible economic slowdown, decline in interest rates and Italy's growing deficit. Here are some of the closing figures. Thank you for watching Business News Tonight. I am Kayode Okikiolu. The news at 10 continues with Amarachi.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks, Kayode. And still ahead on the news at 10, and coming from our London bureau is Around the World in 5 minutes. Stay with us.